Hello, everybody. My name is Azaz. It's nice to have you on my channel, and it'll always be nice to have you on my channel. I just wanted to take this time to make this video, as the title suggests. My transmission on my brand new Dodge Challenger RT broke down twice within a year, and I just wanted to share this story because this video has been a long time coming. Because just kind of as a warning, or just my experience with this muscle car. Extraordinary car. Absolutely love it. It's more than I ever imagined it to be, because this was my first muscle car, to be honest with you. But yeah, it doesn't come without problems, so I'm gonna get straight to the bad points of what I noticed, and obviously there are really good points to the car as well, which I'll get to in the end. I just want to deliver what I stated in my title. Okay, so the story begins last year in August of 2023. I bought this car within the first week of the month, and when I bought it, I had no plans of buying this car, or any car for that matter. I already had a Hyundai Santa Fe, which I was using, which I had no problems with, but I always dreamed of getting a muscle car, and specifically one of those old-time 70s Chargers, but then I looked at the Chargers, which they're producing now, and I just didn't like the direction they went with in terms of the design of the car. But the Challenger was great. The Challenger is reminiscent of that old school design, and it's something that I really wanted to get, as opposed to a Mustang or a Camaro. Although both of those cars are incredible, but I just felt that all around, this car, the Challenger, was great, and I wanted to get something that was reasonable, nothing too crazy like an SRT or a Hellcat or a Demon, because that's overkill for me, at least, because I don't intend to race anytime soon. But still something with a bit of a punch, and obviously not the first tier designs of it. So I got myself an RT, which is ample power. You still get that muscle car oomph to it. It's a V8. It's a 5.7 liter engine, and it drives like a monster, and I love it, at least for me. Obviously, some of you might be muscle car enthusiasts, or people who have driven muscle cars before, have experience with it, so they may not agree with me with that in terms of the power, but yeah, for me it was more than enough power. It threw me back in my seat. It was loud and obnoxious, and exactly what I was looking for. Perfect. Anyway, so I bought the car in August of last year, and the car was brand new. It had like 30 kilometers on the dash, because it hadn't really been driven all that much. It was they just shipped it in, so it even had the plastics on the seats and everything. It was brand new completely. So I was impatient. I guess it was my own fault in a way. I should have checked it for a while, but yeah, I got in the car, and I basically drove it a little bit, and I came back, and I was more than happy with the car. I love the sound, love the look of the car. It's a Destroyer Gray. It's right up here now. You'll see it somewhere on the screen, and it was a hell of a car. I loved it in every way. So once I signed all the papers and all the paperwork was done, I kind of left. I drove out. First corner I turned, it was incredible. I ramped up some Rage Against the Machine in the car, and that's it. I was ready to go. Anyway, that day, the same day that I drove the car out of the dealership, I went to visit a few friends, showed them the car, as you do, obviously. So yeah, once I was done with them, I think I would have driven about 100 kilometers, and at about 100, yeah, so there already was 30 kilometers on the car, and then 100 kilometers more for me. So at 130 kilometers, the car was on the highway. I was driving on the highway at 10 p.m. and that's it. The car completely stopped responding, and I saw a message on the cluster, which basically told me that the transmission needed servicing, which blew my mind. That was a huge hit to my anxiety levels. And yeah, so there was smoke bellowing out of the car. I couldn't, this car was on, but it just wouldn't move. And the transmission basically just died. To cut it short. just the transmission died. The car wouldn't respond, and I had the car towed back home. And once I had the car towed back home, I had it towed again the next morning to the dealership. I remember taking the car in to the dealership, and it felt like I dragged a dead body into the dealership because everybody was just completely shocked. So yeah, they couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. You wouldn't expect something like that from a premium car like that, like a supposed to be a performance car, right? And I'm not taking a crap on the car. The car is incredible. So anyway, I kind of I kept my cool about it the best I could, because it really, it was a shocker. So they gave me they obviously didn't take responsibility for it, nor did they try to all they said was, hey, you know what, you got warranty, let's use that warranty and get it fixed. And I was trying to be like, no, you gotta take it back and give me another one, because this is messed up. But lo and behold, in Canada there are no lemon laws. So a lemon, I didn't know this before, but a lemon car is basically something that just is a faulty car, and there are no laws in Canada protecting consumers if they are sold a lemon, which you do have in the U.S. So people who buy cars in the U.S. their cars can be replaced or taken back completely if they're sold a lemon car. So yeah, I found that out the hard way, and then they basically just kicked me over to the manufacturer, which is Dodge, and the Dodge people said they'll look into it. They looked into it. Took them a few days. In the meantime, these guys were repairing my car at the dealership using the warranty, and that took a month because they couldn't find parts for the car. So that's another thing to note, that every time you have a problem with the car, you're gonna have to wait for a while, because it takes them long time, centuries, to find simple parts for the car. So anyway, I back and forth with the manufacturer and found out that apparently the transmission that was installed in the car was faulty from the get-go. So the vendor for that transmission wasn't doing quality checks or whatever it was, but anyway, it was well established that they weren't going to take the car. Nobody's going to take responsibility for it. They're just going to fix it for me, and not even a sorry or anything. So yeah, that happened, and took them a month to fix the car. They fixed the car and they gave it back to me, and it worked fine for about 8 months, and then again the car broke down again. So, and guess what problem it would have been? The transmission. The transmission broke down again, exactly the same way. It just broke down, stopped responding completely. So yeah, that was the case. And once it broke down, actually I was lucky enough to catch it before it happened, or when it started to happen, because the car started to jerk a little bit, so I could tell that it's having trouble keeping up with the gear changing or whatever. And yeah, so took it back to them. I didn't even bother arguing with them because I knew it was pointless. So I just took it back, and they did the same thing. Took them a month to find parts, and they just fixed it and gave it back to me. And apparently they said that the transmission fluid leaked somehow, which was strange because I've been driving this car I every now and then I have fun with the car, but like 90% of the time I'm just going to and from work. So driving very sensibly, not really driving it on sport mode or performance mode or whatever, just every now and then, and nothing too crazy. Try not to accelerate all the way, like pedal to the metal kind of thing. Although I'm guilty of doing it a few times, but the car should be able to handle that. But yeah, and disclaimer, like, always follow traffic rules and be sensible when you're driving. So anyway, that happened. So the car's transmission broke down twice. So my whole point of making this video is I was planning on making it when I first had the transmission issues, but I was patient. But then when it happened the second time around, I had to do it. And for anyone who's buying these performance cars, now I'm not sure They say it's faulty, but in general, I feel like these cars do have issues with them, which was basically something that I was told earlier on as well. So if you're a first time muscle car buyer or performance car buyer, you should know that you probably will face issues. And if you're in Canada, well, you, there's no recourse for that. So you're going to have to bear the brunt of any losses if you don't have warranty. If you're buying a secondhand muscle car, well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be some of you in the comments saying, well, duh. But it was my first time. I was excited. So yeah, just before you get excited about a car, like make sure you've done your homework and kind of driven it around for a while, and then you've done your research behind it. I guess I couldn't have avoided this. I guess it was just bad luck, but it is what it is. And then there were no other issues, no faults with the car itself. But another thing you want to keep in mind when you get a car like that is obviously the fuel efficiency is not good. So you can't compare this to a Toyota, Honda, or Hyundai, or whatever. So you want to make sure that you have that in mind, because it's going to cost you a pretty penny. I'd say I'm averaging 16 miles per gallon. But if you go online, some people have apparently been able to manage like 23, and some people have been worse off at 15. So it depends on how you drive. Okay, so now that I've got that out of the way, I just wanted to get to the good parts of the car, because the car is absolutely incredible. I enjoyed it so much. Moving from I've always driven SUVs or trucks all my life. So moving to a performance car like that, sleek 2-door like that, was it was an experience, right? So my experience with the car, other than this little hiccup that I had along the way, the car itself is absolutely incredible, man. Every aspect of it is beautiful. So starting with the looks, the car is long and the car is broad. As I mentioned earlier, the design of the car, the way it's built is so good in terms of quality as well. But I'm talking about the aesthetics mainly, and the aesthetics matter. The aesthetics matter to me because at first I had my eyes on the Camaro, but the Camaro from the inside, the interior just isn't all that great in my opinion, because it feels like you're in a cardboard. Quoting one of the mechanics that I spoke to. And I tried the Mustang as well. I don't like the shape of the Mustang personally, because I just feel like they deviated from the beautiful design they used to have, the old school design, and the interior quality just wasn't all that good. It was too plasticky for me. But the Dodge Challenger was the perfect thing for me, looks wise, because it resembles its predecessor, which is the Charger from the 70s. So it was great. It was perfect in terms of shape, and the orange lights in the front, those signature orange lights are so good. So just make it look more aggressive, and it has presence. So yeah, speaking of presence, the car has a lot of presence. As I said, it's long and it's broad, and obviously the side and front are all great. You'll find those in cars, like the sides and the side profile in the front is normally unique, but what I feel like that cars just don't seem to change is the back of the trunk, the design of the trunk, and most cars just resemble each other. Even the Dodge Charger, even though it has those beautiful signature backlights, but still the shape of the trunk is almost like any sedan outsea. But the Dodge Challenger has a beautiful, iconic trunk, along with those lights too. So those backlights are beautiful. The shape of the trunk is beautiful. There's a little spoiler there in the back as well, which I like. It's not too pronounced, and it's perfect. It has a camera in there, for obviously, which is seamless. You can't even tell. And the trunk is great. The front is great. And the tires. So the tires, the tires were so good, because when I look at one tier down, which is an SXT, I felt like the rims of the tires were like, it felt like it was cheap metal or something. Oh, in my car, in the RT, it has a carbon fiber-ish look to the rims, and I feel like they're slightly bigger. Maybe I might be wrong, but yeah, they look amazing. The tires don't look too big, and they're not like they don't look regular size either. So now moving on to the interior. The interior itself is something that I really liked in this make and model compared to its competitors, because the material used inside is so good. It's solid. It's well fitted together, and there are no creaks or sounds when you press against anything in there. So the seats themselves are so good. They're not leather, but they're even that material that they've used is great. And looking at the dashboard, you have a decent sized screen. It's got Apple CarPlay in there. It's got everything you could find in a modern car nowadays. It's no Tesla screen, or the electronics aren't crazy in the car, but it's enough, more than enough that you could need. Because to be honest with you, the allure and beauty of these muscle cars is that they're rugged, they're gritty. So not having a lot of electronics in there, it just makes it feel a bit more grittier, a bit more tougher. I don't know if I'm making sense, but that's what made sense to me. Other than that, it has a beautiful sunroof, and the good thing about, I've had cars with sunroofs before, but it feels really special having a sunroof in this car, because the roof is like is so much closer to your head, because obviously it's like a sleeker car, so you can almost feel like your head is about to pop out of the sunroof. So when you're driving below tall, high-rise buildings, you can almost, like, you can feel like you're outside. You're actually outside, and you look up and you see those high-rise buildings. It's beautiful. Moving on to the back seats, the space in the back seats, it actually surprised me, because when I was buying the car, I had no confusion. So when I was buying this car, I didn't think there was going to be a lot of space in the back. I wasn't expecting to carry two other people in the back, but I was surprised, because there is a decent amount of space in there. If you're a 6 foot tall person, you can easily sit in the back with enough leg room and headroom. So it's great. The only problem you might have in the back is that you don't have any windows to control, so you're at the mercy of the passenger and the driver in the front. So keep that in mind. Now, moving on to the power of the car. The power was, for me at least, incredible. This is an RT. This is a 5.7 liter Hemi V8. So it cranks out about 375 horsepower, which is more than enough for me to feel the difference from a everyday car. You enjoy it, you feel it, like it buries you into the seat, and that's all you want to feel. It really wants to fly. This car wants to fly. If you try to drive it, you can try and drive it as slow as you want to, as sensibly as you want to, but if you're not careful, it can fly off the handle real quick. So I love that about this car. It feels like you drive sensibly. Sometimes when you're feeling a little sporty, and you're like in a safe area where you like obviously you want to be sensible. You can put on the sport mode and kind of drive within limits, of course, but you can feel that kind of power behind the engine, and the sound of the car just kind of emanates that power. So not only when you're kind of revving up the car, but even if you're standing idle, the car's that slow rumble you can hear in the cabin, and also people standing outside can hear it even louder. All that being said, my conclusion to this car is that maybe I just got unlucky with my purchase, but maybe transmissions don't break twice in a year in other muscle cars. But you know what? That aside, I'm really happy with this. It's beautiful. It's the kind of car I wanted to drive since growing up. So ever since I got into 80s hair metal, heavy metal, whatever you want to call it, and 70s metal. So all I could think about was driving a muscle car while I crank up that kind of music. And yeah, so I've outlawed Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue in this car because that's gonna send you off. So I don't play that in the car. But it is such a great experience. I still haven't gotten tired of the car because you normally when the honeymoon period's off, you just kind of it dies out. The feeling dies out. But I've not grown tired of this car as of yet. And after a tiring day at work, when I step outside into the parking lot and I see this beautiful, beautiful machine standing there waiting for me, and it looks completely apart from everything else there, just beckoning to me, there's no better feeling. I feel so much better and energized. It's frustrating to get stuck in traffic, but I don't mind actually driving this car, traffic or no traffic. So yeah, I enjoyed this car and I still enjoy this car, and I feel like I'm still going to continue to enjoy this car. But yeah, this is just a video to kind of give people a heads up who are looking to buy this kind of car, who haven't purchased a muscle car before, who haven't experienced a muscle car before. So yeah, just keep in mind that there are costs associated with this, and there's a lot of maintenance required on these cars. So it's a performance car. It's going to kind of demand a lot from you, and it delivers too. But you have to be ready to take care of it. So yeah, these were my 2 cents on that beautiful machine of a car that the Dodge Challenger is. And thank you for watching this video. Thank you for visiting my channel. I will always appreciate your visits. And until next time, keep it classy, guys.